Hello, pilots. Anybody's ever seen any of my pictures on Facebook or posts, they've always seen the laser carriage, but they rarely ever see the riser carriage. So this time, let's go down there and check that out so you guys can see that setup. It's a 3-car garage, so I can combine tandems. There's the laser beam onto the target. And I've modified this through the years as I learn more and more, and used to have both risers connected here in the center, but I find that some risers are thicker than others, especially the paramotor wings that have the trimmers on it. That'll be a little more bulky and it'll interfere with the beam. So what I was doing, one riser at a time and have one off to the side, but then I started thinking, why, all it takes is one little part to just interfere. So I no longer do them down the center anymore. I've taken that concept away entirely, and I've hooked them on the outside here. That way there's no interference at all. And I've also made this the same height as the laser beam, because the height difference will skew the numbers a little bit too. So now a little more uniform in that aspect. And then because this rail is directly in line with the rail at the laser carriage, and you're measuring on this side of it, that it only makes sense to do that exact same thing with the riser carriage, to always have the line connection point on this side. So when I'm doing the right side of the glider, left side of the glider, I'll just switch the risers and hook them here accordingly, so they're always on this side of the rail as they are at the opposite end. Because if you have one on this side for the right side of the glider, and then over here for the left side of the glider, these lines are crossing the rail because they're on this side of the rail at the laser end, and I've had the laser beam hit the lines. You could barely see it, but every now and then it'll catch it and it'll skew the numbers that way too. So I no longer do that either. So I always have them, when I'm doing the right side of the glider, left side, I always hook it on this side of the riser carriage. That way it's always in uniform and in line with the laser carriage where I'm measuring it from. And when I do the brake lines, same thing. I'm doing both on this side now, and I hook them right here where the line, the mark is on the brake line, which is at the, the bowl and knot there. And then when you pull the thing, it moves the riser carriage, which lifts the weight down there, 5-kilogram weight. You can see that thing down there. And so that way, the same thing. This is not exactly the same height as the laser beam, but it's pretty darn close. I also have another connection point where I can connect the brake lines handle right here. But what I'll have to do there is I have to set my Excel spreadsheet to add 140 millimeters offset to the brake measurements, because the distance from here to the laser target is 140 millimeters. And then this bolt here is actually 8 millimeters from the target, so my laser itself has an offset that I have set to 8 millimeters to add that difference there. And then actually this 140 millimeters actually goes to the back side of this bolt as well, just to take in consideration that the laser device has an offset of 8 millimeters. So it's actually, from this point to here is actually 148. But I do the brake offset on the Excel at 140, and then my laser device has it at 8, so that makes it 148. And that way, whenever I hook here, I do the 140 millimeter offset. If I do it here, I don't have to do any offset because it's 8 millimeters in sync with this bolt where the riser hooks onto as 8 millimeters as well, which is set up that way on my laser device. And so that's how I've evolved over the years, from having both risers in here to having one on either side to now just having them both on this side, whether it's the brakes or the lines. And that's how things have been going.